I'm like, I can't believe I even walked outside without his floaty on. I'm like, it scares me. But he was fine. Have you noticed that we are invited to less and less stuff?
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before, actually. Like you along the way, yeah, you get invited to less things. People kind of slowly peel off.
Yeah,
it's a slow disappearance.
Well, I remember last year we were invited to a 4th of July party. I don't know that we're going to be invited to it again. We're
definitely not now, I can tell you that.
But it was it's not fun for me though. I mean, I don't miss being invited, but I can definitely tell that we are not invited as much.
Oh yeah, like even just the even just the casual things.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, pop by, bring the kids, jump in the pool, have a beer. Like that's never happens anymore.
No, because everyone knows it's like this big thing with Cal. Like,
yeah,
we have to really plan out everything. I mean, even that 4th of July party, we brought his wagon. Me and you were very disconnected from everyone at the party.
Yep.
Our other kids had a great time.
Yep.
But the whole time we were just right next to Cal.
Yeah, but I get it. Like I sort of get it too. Like
I get it too.
Yeah, I mean, like I get it. I mean, I have to put myself in those other people's situation, right? Because they have friends over and people don't know each other, and yeah, I mean, I get it.
Well, Cal was like trying to run into their house wet.
Yeah.
Because I had to leave his floaty on the whole time because there was a pool, and I'm terrified of drowning.
Well, I think I get it, and then there are people who like we are acquaintances with, but then once they figured out like the whole situation with Cal, like they've like never invited us.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
like
for sure.
They're just like, no way, not in my house. We ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I get it. I mean, we are like that high maintenance, not because we're like high maintenance people. At least I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe, but I think it's just like, yeah, I don't want that situation in my house because then it would be, a little more than what we're looking for.
Well, and then if like you're meeting their friends and stuff, and then they start asking questions, and it's this whole autism thing.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's you get a little disappointed because you're like, oh, yeah, we're kind of looked at as that whatever. Yet I'm like, yeah, I think I might understand that, like, and I was thinking to myself, would I do that too? Like, would I not invite, like, would we do that? Maybe. No?
We wouldn't. And the thing with us is we're like super social people.
Yeah.
You more than me. Because I'm social at work, so I'm like, I don't need the extra, but you're definitely more social.
We used to be, we used to be a lot more social for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were definitely more into like, hey, come over and, sit by the pool for 8-9 hours. We don't care. Hang out, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we would do the same. And now it's a lot more just scripted, planned. Like there's a strategy to everything. There's a backup plan. There's a this plan, a that plan. There's an insurance plan. There's a this plan. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, everything you do has to be completely thought out.
Yeah. That's
everything.
Everything. Like there's no winging it. Like you're not really winging it. Like
right.
You even have to kind of have an idea about your exit, like how it's going to go so that he can, if he decides he wants to go, you still got to leave the right way.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of things.
Yeah, so that becomes very exhausting. And then you don't want to leave the house sometimes.
No.
Because it's exhausting.
Yeah, and especially like, now with where we are. And so like this part of Florida, this time of year, I mean, it can be monsooning 1 second and sunny 90 breeze sitting on a beach another second. Yeah. Well, if you're on the beach and then the freaking monsoon rolls in, you know what I mean? The big storm rolls in. Well, you've got to, I mean, just think about it. You've got to like pack up and go. But with Cal, like sometimes that just doesn't work for him. You know what I mean? Like sometimes
he has to be ready, or it's like all of a sudden you're changing it too fast.
Yeah. And then that could be like, you're dealing with that like the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to really you have to really think this all out of how this is going to work. And then, of course, like for us, you have like the 4 other kids. So, what are you going to do with them? Like, how is that going to all work? This and that. Because their thing is like, oh, well, we spent an hour or 2 hours getting ready to go to the beach because we're supposed to be do a beach day. And now we've been here for 20 minutes and we're leaving.
Well, that's something our kids have gotten very good at is just not being upset. You know, they all understand our world revolves around Cal.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's yeah. But it's funny you bring up the not getting invited. I mean, there's even just people we just don't hear from as much anymore.
Oh yeah.
And it's not. I mean, there's no way it's like, oh, Cal's autistic, we don't want to hang out with those people. It's not that. I don't think. It's just there's just that level of either they are uncomfortable talking about it, hearing about it, or they're just like, yeah, we really need like special time to deal with that situation.
Yeah.
You know?
I do feel bad for our kids though. Our other 4 other kids are very social, and they do want to be invited and go, and so I do feel bad for them.
Well, it is, yeah. It's hard because I think so their friends as parents, I think sometimes, and we have to explain it to them. I think they're sort of like, hey, your kid has been coming over to my house for like a year and a half, hanging out, doing this and that, and my kid's been to your house once.
Yeah.
And so we have to be like, hey, listen, you know,
this is why.
Yeah, this is the situation, and you know, this is our life. And then once they hear it, they're like, oh gosh, like, yeah, totally you know, it's just it won't always be like that. It's just right now, like for instance, yesterday, Cal went and jumped in the pool. No floaties on.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like
that was
can't
super scary.
Have the distractions of it sounds terrible. I mean, we just can't have the distractions of other kids.
Yeah, extra people.
Yeah, and you know, people who leave the doors unlocked or leave the doors open, or you know, like I mean, our house looks like a freaking bank.
Kids gym.
You know, guarding the vault.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's like we have this system of gates and doors and locks and everything, and everybody here just kind of knows like when he's in this room, this is locked down. When he's in this room, that's locked down. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you have other kids, and it's just too much.
Yeah, so we've talked before. I mean, after being diagnosed, I mean, relationships with other people have changed.
Yeah.
Even family members. Like, we can't have visitors here. We can't have people on vacation.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think, too, with this is, like, you see who the people are that... And actually, we have some friends who, like, never want to talk about it, and I think that's cool, too. Like, I think they're just uncomfortable. Yeah, they're just uncomfortable in the whole thing, and they never want to talk about it. They never mention it. None of that stuff ever gets brought up, and that's fine too, because I'm always like, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable either.
And they don't even ask, how is Cal?
Nope, they don't
want to know anything about it,
and that's fine, because it's like they're not comfortable having the conversation, and I guess it's not even really a conversation to have. I mean, certainly not all the time, right? Like it's just, but it's cool that they're just like, hey, we just don't, we don't. It's not something we really want to ever discuss.
Yeah,
and it's like cool. That's good too.
Yeah,
because everybody's different, so it's like we know where you stand and what you're about, and that's fine. Like that's great.
Well, and they don't want to hear any of the bad, you know.
Yeah, I do think a lot of it for people is that too. They don't want to hear the challenging stuff,
which is daily. I mean, every single day we deal with something.
Yeah,
you know, that's different.
Well, I tell people it's every day and it's every night. Like it's not just like it doesn't just conveniently happen at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then by 2, everything's fine. It's on and off all day and into the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it is exhausting. I mean, like last night, he wouldn't go to bed.
Wouldn't go to bed. We were watching the hockey game. All the kids have been really excited about this hockey season. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the game, he comes over and punches me in the face. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's like... And
that's the first time he's done that to you.
Punched, yeah.
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 The last podcast, I just talked about him slapping me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is new, and he has some force behind it.
Oh, yeah, especially when you're not expecting him. I was looking at the TV. I was watching the game. He just walked over and just punched me right in the face. And it wasn't like, I mean, it startles you. You know, I was like, you know, what the hell was that? But then it also upset the other kids.
Yeah.
Like they get upset when they see it because they don't understand. I mean, we don't, not that I understand.
And he wasn't mad.
No. And he didn't really understand. He kind of stared at me after he did it. Like I was telling him he was jumping on something on his purple tunnel onto his crash mat, and it was too dangerous. So I was telling him that he can't do that. I think he held on to that for about a minute. It was about 45 seconds after that. He walked over and punched me in the face.
Oh, my gosh.
So I think he was sort of processing like, oh, you were telling me that I couldn't do something. Well, I don't like that. So he came over and punched me.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So I do think that was the reason why. But like it upsets the other kids. You could see it in their face. They get upset. They don't like to
Yeah,
see
Austin's like, he just punched Daddy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
that. Yeah, she did. She got upset. She didn't like it because they don't see him like that. You know, they don't want to see him like nobody wants to see their kid like that. But
Right.
but the problem is for us is because we start thinking like, what does this look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And that's when you read those stories on the news, you know, where somebody just walks up to a cop and starts beating them up.
Oh, God.
And but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your mind starts to go there. You
Yeah,
know,
I can see
or
that.
they're in a store and something doesn't go their way and then they get jumped by a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's the stuff that it's like you just, you know, and you can't get hung up on it. I did think about it for about 15 minutes last night after this happened, but I was just like, yeah, that's the tough stuff.
Because he doesn't know really why he's doing it or what he just did. So imagine if he did that, say, to an old lady or something.
Yeah.
When he's bigger.
No,
That's
and
scary.
Yeah, and he did apologize. I mean, you had to. I mean, I have to prompt him,
Right.
but you know, you have to. You can't just say sorry either. You have to, you know, like, hey, you don't hit. Why did we hit? Are you angry?
Right.
What are you angry about? And once you walk him through it, and say, you know, do you feel sorry? Can you say sorry? And then he'll go through all that with you. But you know, it's just, yeah, those are the things.
That is the sad part of it, though, because you're like, why? How? You know?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah.
You know? Is this going to keep happening?
I wonder, too, if that's the other reason, like maybe some people don't, like when you're talking about not getting invited places.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, they hear those stories. You know, it's our fault because we're telling them.
Yeah.
And maybe they're like, yeah, maybe that's not what we want going on over here.
I know.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's just, but that's what it is. I mean, that it you know, because the other side of it too, and I mean, I see it a lot, is there is that culture of just ignore it, just hide it, don't talk about it. Everybody just pretend like it's not going on. You know what I mean? But I think that also screws up special needs parents. I think that screws them up in the head when
Right.
they're just around people who don't want to talk about it and pretend that it's not real.
Right.
You know? And then I think over time, it's obvious that you're just ignoring something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We talk about it because I'm not going to pretend like everything's fine. You know?
No.
I mean, I'm just not that type of person. And I don't think you should pretend like everything's fine. I mean, because that's what makes people upset inside,
Well,
you know?
it's so, to us, it's so obvious. I think the other people that say, half of the other people that are like, oh, okay, I don't notice anything. I think half of them are lying.
Well, you can notice now.
Yeah, but even some people are like, oh, I'd never know, you know. But I think they're trying to make you feel good, you know, which is cool. I mean, they're trying to come from the right place.
Well, it's like, oh, okay, he's biting himself.
Well, yeah,
okay.
that there are some obvious signs now, but
Yeah.
you know, I guess what I'm saying is if you just see him like walking in the park, like,
Right.
you know, he doesn't have like an apparatus to help him walk, or you know what I'm saying? So there are people who are like, oh, I don't, you know, they just have another version of what they think autism is,
Right.
in their mind, and they see him and they're like, you know, they just don't really. I don't know. It's weird to look at other people's reactions on things, and then because you kind of go, well, what did you think this was? But then you realize, like, I don't know, they've watched like one commercial about it, and they think they know everything.
I know.
You know?
And autism is so different in every kid. I mean, it really is. You
Well,
know, I go to his clinic that he goes to, and some kids you can tell more, and other kids you can't.
Yeah,
you know, because there's function. I mean, maybe one kid's more functioning, and then you can't really tell.
Yeah, it's a level of functioning. Like at one of his schools, like there's one kid who actually, I mean, he kind of needs help walking. Like just needs help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just needs to be guided while they're walking, so you can see that there's a level of function there. It's obvious to see.
Right.
Like the child just really needs help walking. Every step they take, they need help. And then there's other kids who aren't even holding their teacher's hands or anything. So you know what I mean? It's all of this just wide array of different challenges.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, sometimes somebody looks at somebody and has forms an opinion, and it's hard to get them to break that.
Right.
You know, and I get it. I mean, I get it. It's hard. I mean, we all make snap judgments when we see something or somebody.
Right.
And so then we just kind of go with that initial judgment. And then you have to kind of break it down for people to get them away from that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's like you said, that's probably why we don't get invited places much anymore.
Well, I was just thinking about it because there's another holiday coming up, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think we'd get invited again. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them, but
well,
like I said, it's more for the other kids that I feel bad.
We just can't be. We can't. First off, that party got out of control. I mean, I'm just like, well, the 4th of July party. Are we talking about the same one? Maybe
No.
Not. Oh, okay. Oh, we're not.
I'm talking about down the street.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, but we were talking about 2 different parties down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't blame the people because we don't in this situation. Like, we're probably not coming off as the most social because always have one eye on him and what he's doing, and it's every 20 seconds. We're like, no, Cal, come here, Cal. No, you can't go. You can't. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe that's it too. Maybe it's like, well, we can't really invite them because they can't even socialize.
Yeah.
They have him, and yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I've always said, like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I just have my kid. You know what I mean? I can't take my eyes off of him.
No, and I think it comes off to other people who don't know. They're like, oh, well, they don't really socialize with anybody. It's like, well, we can't.
No.
We're trying. We're trying very hard, but we really just can't. Well, like I said yesterday, he went and jumped in the pool.
Yeah, so I never have his floaty off of him when we go outside. I was distracted by the other kids, and I walked outside without the floaty. I don't know what made me think the floaty was on him. I don't know. I was just distracted. The kids were being really bad yesterday. The 4 other kids. Just arguing the whole day.
A whole day about
You
sports.
were cleaning the
So
pool,
annoying.
so we were both out there. But I don't know what made me think he had his floaty on. And I turned around, after I put the towels down, I turned around, and he's in the small end of the pool. He stepped off the stairs, and he had his head above water. He's learning how to float in swim lessons to keep his head above water. But I was terrified because it's that quick something can happen.
Well,
and like I said, he had his head above water, so it was fine.
But that's the first time we've ever seen him in a pool alone with no floaties.
Right.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Because I was cleaning the pool.
Yeah.
So I was looking down at the other end of the pool, and he got in very quiet, sneakily quiet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you couldn't hear a word. And you just screamed, "Oh my God, Cal." You know, and I look over, I'm like, "Oh my God, he is in the pool, no floaties. He's on the last step, and he's got everything in the water except his head." He was just looking up. But that's actually what he works on with his swim teacher.
Yeah, he was looking up with the biggest smile on his face because he knew he didn't have his floaty on. And he knew to keep his head above water, out of the water.
Even talking about that right now, I'm like, where is he? Where is he? But he's not here.
No, he's at his clinic.
I know, but
I
was
was
like,
terrified. I'm like, that quick, something can happen.
I know, but every terrible accident, like involving a pool or water, everything, it's exactly what you just said. People are like, I looked away for a second.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, I can't believe I even walked outside without his floaty on. I'm like,
I know,
it scares me. But he was fine. But now I'm just like, oh my God, like, there's just no room for error.
No.
There's no room for error. And literally, that's why when we're at a party, I always have his floaty on, even if he's not in the pool. And you know what? Actually, we went to a party to go pick up Trey. Trey gets invited to more parties than we do.
Trey.
He was at a graduation party.
Trey has stolen our social status. Like, he is Mr. Social. Like, that dude would be at a party every day if he could.
Oh my God. He has so much fun. Anyways, he said that there was this little boy that was autistic at the party, and I pinpointed him right away because he had his floaty on.
Yeah.
No one was in the pool, but I'm like, that's exactly what I would have done. You know, it just makes you have peace of mind as a mom.
No, but
parent.
I mean, and you totally get like what those parents are going through, because it's like, we can't just live in fear for the next 3 hours of our life because there's a pool. I mean, every house here has a pool, right? So, and they're just like, we just can't live in fear. So literally, I don't know if the kid ever got in the pool the whole time.
No, but guess what? The mom was in the corner with the kid, not socializing.
I know.
Because you just can't.
I know.
I mean, you can't.
But it takes 1 second to turn around, and then it's like, where's my kid? And then you look in the pool, and it's like,
well, and it usually happens to where, okay, people get out of, I've read a lot of stories. People get out of the pool, they take the floaty off, the kid has a snack, they turn around and the kid's gone.
Yep.
And that's why even when he has snacks and stuff, I keep his floaty on. So now I'm just going to be high alert still.
I mean,
I'm like, I always do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, I cannot believe I was distracted and didn't put his floaty on right away.
Oh, it's just like when you see, but here's the thing. Here's the good side of it, I think. So he's actually getting confidence out of the swim lessons, out of the
Yeah.
swim instructor thing, because he went in and did exactly. He's never done that before.
No.
He's never just even tried to get to the pool without his floaty on.
No.
Like it's just, and so that always made
He
us,
usually asks for his floaty, actually.
yeah, that always kind of made us feel good. Now he's like, oh, but I also think too, we're the ones that kind of instigated this. Because we got the swim lessons, we're the ones that are making sure he does the swim instruction. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he has to. Yeah.
He has to, right? So, but it's building confidence and it's building interest in the pool and not waiting for people. So you're at that stage. It's like the intersection of like cautious and then individualism. Like he's becoming his own individual, and he's like, oh, I'm out here. I don't have it on. I've done this before with my swim instructor. I know what to do. And he went and did it. So that's really good because he's like taking the initiative on his own. It's just scary as hell also for the parents. You know?
And I do like that he is now tall enough. He can pretty much reach in the small end to keep his head up. But yeah, she lets go of him during swim lessons. So he is swimming, he's not the best swimmer yet. He could definitely still drown.
Oh yeah.
But he's definitely starting the process of swimming,
Is that today, swim lessons, by the way?
Yeah,
right.
Today and Wednesday.
I
think this may be the last week, so I'm actually going to look at something else to get him in
I don't know what day it is.
year-round, like full-time.
I can't keep up with what day it is.
It's Monday.
Yeah.
So Cal's schedule today is therapy in the morning, 9 to 12, swim lessons, and ABA for 3.5 hours. He has a very busy schedule.
That's a day.
Yeah.
I'm tired thinking about his day.
It does not wear him out at all.
No, he'll be on the. He'll still be on up all night tonight, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because he is doing well. So at night he's doing his things though, like he's got his
crash mat.
Yeah, like if you see our videos on Facebook or Instagram, I mean you could see that the house really has been transformed into a kids gym, and so it's good because he is bouncing at night from one thing to the next, and he's doing his imaginative play.
Right.
Because he's talking to himself and putting himself in other, like last night he was doing his bear hunt thing and jumping off the tree, I think, or jumping off of something, he kept saying. So like it's kind of good for him to do that. So that's a good thing.
Well, that took a long time to get. Imaginary and pretend play.
Yeah.
Like
now he's doing
developmentally, he did not have that when we started.
But now he's doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
And whether it's Hickory Dickory Dock or bear hunt, shark hunt, he did the Big Bad Wolf for a while.
Yeah.
What's that called?
The Big Bad Wolf? 3 Little Pigs?
Oh, yeah, 3 Little Pigs. There is a Big Bad Wolf. I think it's 3 Little Pigs, right? So
I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll huff and puff and blow your house away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did that for a while. I think he was doing that in the pool yesterday for a minute. So it's kind of good that he's staying up and doing all that stuff. It's just exhausting for us because we're like, okay, it's 11 o'clock. Like, please go to bed.
And because he has to be watched, I mean, you're still on guard until he's asleep, But, I mean, yesterday in the pool, he was fine. But my mind just went to like the scary, oh my God, what could have just happened? You know what I mean?
It's, yeah.
I actually am still freaking out inside a little bit.
It actually makes you think like, gosh, like sometimes we have a babysitter here. Sometimes our oldest will babysit him for a couple of hours. And you just think of how quick and how easy something can happen.
But we have everything locked. But
no,
yes.
I know we do. But we were both out there with him. We were with him.
I know. I literally was
we were out there with them, both of us.
That could have just happened. And it's just me and you out there. And we were just distracted by the other kids. We were just talking about the kids. I opened the door to tell the kids to stop arguing, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I went and put the towel down on the chair. I turned around and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
But you always hear the stories. They always say, I was gone for a second. I was gone for a minute. It was 30 seconds. I went around the corner, came back. Couldn't believe what I saw. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm literally like, how?
I know.
My God.
And you hate it because it's just life that's distracting you. It's just life. It's the normal things in life. My phone rang, so I had to take this call. And I took this call, and I was on the phone, and I turned around. And it's just awful. It's just life.
And we are exhausted. He's almost 5, and it's still like we have a baby. He's still wearing diapers. Yeah. He's still, everything's like a baby still. When you go outside, you have to hold his hand, and, he has to be right by you.
It's, It's, I think actually, I forget who I was talking to the other day. They're like, oh, it'll get easier. I'm like, that's actually getting harder.
It is.
Like, I don't
It's
know.
absolutely getting harder.
Yeah, and again, it's just a talking point. It's people throw this out. They have good intentions because they want things to be good. They want it to be better.
Yeah.
Or to progress, but it's like, it's not. Like, it's not, and you saying that things are going to get better. I know you're just saying that because you want the conversation to go somewhere else. So you just want to end it on the good note and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's like weird, like when you're living it, those almost become insults. So I got to try, but I know the person isn't doing it on purpose. So I got to try to not be like that. I got to try not to take it as an insult, even though it's sort of insulting, but they don't mean it as an insult. It's okay, things will get better. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that you just wipe up my existence here and things will get better and then we're moving on to the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, you think you're doing like you're doing that for you so you can feel better about the conversation.
Right.
And it's like, I actually am really careful now when I talk to other people about, not about this or anything, just about if they have a situation in their life, like not even about special needs, autism, nothing like that, just whatever. I got to be I think about now what I say, because I'm like, I really don't know your situation. So I can't just throw out those statements of like, don't worry about it. It'll get better. I'm sure things will be fine. Because I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea, and I'm not going to pretend that I do,
Well, just like him punching you yesterday. I mean, imagine when he's 15.
Well, so now I kind of ask people, like, what's your plan? What are your thoughts? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about, instead of just projecting, oh, you'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, because that's not cool.
No, it's not.
But you have to really think to put yourself in that state of mind.
Right.
Like, you've got to really tell yourself, this person's dealing with this thing that I know not much about, and I don't want to just fake and BS them that everything's going to be okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel that way when people are like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Everything will work out good. I'm like, how would you just say that?
Well, that's like kind of just shaking you off.
Yeah. What it is I don't want to be saddled with your problems. So let me tell you everything's great so we can move on to something that's a lot less heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who does that?
Who?
My mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's good at that.
Yeah. But she also is like, oh, I totally understand your situation. No, you don't. You're not living it. You have no idea. You actually haven't been here in a year and a half.
Yeah, but that's just more pretending. Like, that's actually pretend play. Like, that's actually imaginative play.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're going through. Okay, now you're imagining something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no way someone could imagine this.
No.
I mean, our day-to-day is like, what the heck just happened?
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't even, it's so crazy because now like 5 years, like it's crazy. We're 5 years in. Well, not really 5 years into it, because the first year, I don't think we even thought anything. No, we didn't think anything about it. So we're probably.
He was dead.
No, but we knew before the diagnosis.
Yeah.
What do you think? We're 3.5 years into.
Well, yeah, he started getting therapy with early steps when he was 2.
Yeah.
And he's turning 5.
We're
so
at
3
least
years.
3 years into it. Now, imagine starting something and doing it for 3 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. Every day. Because this is every day.
Yeah.
You're going to get pretty damn good at it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if you go to the gym every day for 3 years, I'm sorry, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Right? You speak Spanish every day for 3 years, you're probably a pretty fluent Spanish speaker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you're an expert. They have that saying out there that if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you become an expert. It's like science. They've proven it.
I think we're an expert.
Yeah. So we're way more than 10,000 hours in on this.
I mean, think about somebody that's just getting diagnosed to now we're 3 years in.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm sort of like, it doesn't like you can't fool people that are 3 years in every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fool me on that.
Right.
And so when people try to, like people that we're talking about, not even that they're trying to fool you, it's just that they're trying to wiggle out of it.
Right.
But I'm like, see, you're wiggling out, but you can't. That doesn't work with people who, you know what I'm saying? I've always said I feel so bad for door-to-door salespeople when they knock on the door of a special needs family.
Oh yeah.
They're like, because their new saying now is, the solar guy got me the other day. Hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. And I'm like, dude, I swear to God, you're lying. You know, not only do I have 5 kids, so I'm like a human lie detector. we also have a special needs kid. Like, your crap just ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Well, so I told you this yesterday, I think. Since he's been diagnosed, it changes the relationships you have with people.
Yeah.
Like, I do not have a good relationship with my parents right now since he's been diagnosed.
Yep.
Because when he got diagnosed, I really needed them. I needed their help. I needed support, and then slowly they just backed up. And now I'm like, stay away from me.
Yeah.
Because you need the support. You need support from people. And so you see the grandparents at the pickup line and stuff that are involved. And then I'm sure actually that this is a common thing with autistic families or special needs families, that if you don't have the support from your parents, whatever, then you don't have those people in your life. And it's partially it's denial. Those people want to pretend like everything's fine. I
also think they're embarrassed.
Could be.
I think they're embarrassed. I think their idea of grandkids is not that, and I honestly think they got embarrassed.
Well,
I don't know how else to say it.
But you can't understand this situation unless you see it. Unless you see it and live it.
You got to live it, yeah. Because that's the thing. You can come over for 2 or 3 hours. If you catch him on a good day, it's going to be a very low maintenance, easy going. He may be on his iPad doing number blocks. He may be counting. He may be doing, yesterday he did the whole alphabet with Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And you may say, God, what are those people always talking about? Or what are they, that was, geez, he just sat there and just played it. It's like, right, well, you caught us on a 2 hours, 3 hours, because there are plenty of times like that, which is fine.
Yeah, and are you here from morning to night? Because something's going to happen.
Yeah. So, it's just, and then the time constraints of having to be here, having to be there, and this and that. And people are like, well, then don't do it. Like, no, you have to do it. Because of what we talked about, like yesterday, like him punching me in the face. Like, you don't want that to continue. Like, that's tough stuff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people get embarrassed. But here's another example on the flip side, because like I bet there's a lot of like parent relationships that have been totally destroyed after a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can't fake your way through this.
No.
You can't get on social media and write a heart and fool people. Like you can't do that. It doesn't work.
Well,
if the secret gets out, it's like, oh, I'm a phony. I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
But we're at this restaurant the other day that we like to go to a lot, Seabreeze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a bartender there, really cool guy, really nice guy. We've known him for, I don't know, a little bit. And so this podcast gets promoted on these video screens at a couple restaurants around here.
Right.
So he comes up, he's like, hey, I saw you guys on one of the screens. They were advertising your what's that?
At Seabreeze.
At Seabreeze.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't know that you guys did that. And he's like, I have a grandson who is autistic. And so we just started talking to him and stuff, and I think they live up in Michigan or something like that, he said.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
And he's like, I'm begging my son to move here with my grandkid so I can help him. He can live with me, and he's like, I'll do full time. I'll do whatever I have to do to take care of my grandkid.
Yeah.
To help him. And I'm like, dude, that is so awesome of you. To
it is.
Open up your life like that at your age. You know what I mean? Because and people now, I know there's people going, oh, well, what do you mean? Like, that's the grandparent. You're supposed to do that. Yeah, I get it. But you know how many people don't?
Yeah.
Like, you know how many grandparents want to stay so far away from the situation?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or just show up with gifts. Guess what? Cal's not going to accept your gift, and he doesn't know who you are.
With a candy bar and smile for 3 or 4 days and think that you've been a good grandparent. No, you've been a total failure.
Yeah.
But the point is that there are great people out there like that guy,
right? Who's
like telling his son, "Move here. You can live. I will open up my house to you. I will take him full time and take him." He said, "I'll take him to therapies. I'll do whatever I have to do."
Yeah. I know, that was super nice.
I'm like, man, that's really awesome.
And how great that kid has that support.
I know.
Because
how great is it? It's this way, that this kid's up in the Midwest and the dad lives in Florida, as opposed to he lives in Florida and the dad lives in the Midwest, and he's got to move to some cold, nasty area.
No kidding. Who doesn't want to be in Florida?
I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, like, what else do you need? You know what I mean? Like, that's like, to me, that's like hitting the lottery. You've got a kid who's autistic. You need help. You're stressed out. Your grandfather lives on the beach, or your dad lives on the beach in Florida, and he's opening his house to you.
I know. It's super cool.
I mean, I'd have been in the car.
And that guy's like, I will do this. I'll help you full time.
Well, and he said, what do I have? He said, at my age, I realized all I got is my family. He's like, nothing else matters. What do I care? That's all I got is my family.
Well, it is about your family.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
I just think it's awesome that he took that, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I got to call that kid and go, dude, you need to take your dad up on this now, because like you're going to need these therapies. You're going to need this stuff. If you wait too long.
And it does get harder.
It gets harder, but then, man, the regret that you could face years down the road, I'm trying to get him to not have to experience that.
Yeah.
Because
you need the support, so then you get mad.
Yeah.
I get mad.
Sure.
I get really mad.
Yeah.
No, and I lash out. I lash out at my parents because our kids so they deal with Cal on a daily basis because he does have to be watched 24/7. So if me and you have to take a shower or do the dishes or whatever, go to work, they have to help with him. And so our kids are learning at a very young age to be a caretaker.
Yeah. We have pop-up, like my dad's the same way. He's, well, not the same, but similar. We have pop-up, our kids have pop-up grandparents.
Yeah.
They pop up once a year, and it's all very, vacation-driven. It's very, hey, we're here doing our thing. We're going to be, pampering you all week and buying you food and, this and that. And it's very like, it's just very structured. It's not, it's like they don't call throughout the year and really and talk to the kids. You know what I mean?
They don't know that Tyler does jiu-jitsu and he's shadow boxing on the driveway 5 days a week and training hard because he wants to be an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
They don't know that Charlie just started volleyball and, what she's doing in 6th grade.
Yeah, they have no connection. They have no interest. They just want to pop up.
Yeah.
They want to
post
pop
on
up.
social media and...
Yeah. I mean, it's hit the like button. Like. And it's like, oh, look what I look like on social media. I look like an involved grandparent.
Yeah.
But everybody knows you're not. So like you're absolutely fooling nobody, not even yourself.
Well,
You know what I'm
that's the
saying?
thing with now since he's been diagnosed. Am I allowed to cuss on here? Like,
hold on, let me call my boss. Oh, I don't have one.
I'm saying
Yeah.
we don't put up with bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, Oh my gosh. Well,
we allowed
it's
to
not the
cuss?
radio.
Do
I
whatever
don't normally cuss.
Oh, that's a lie.
I don't cuss that often.
You've been cussing a lot more lately.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I needed to.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can see through all the lies and the bullshit and all
God.
that,
Now here we go.
What?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's yeah, you just get to a point where you're like, it's funny. Even this, I had this call with this guy the other day. This was just like a kind of a business thing, and I was telling him about this thing and that thing, and he was telling me about his thing and that thing, and I'm like, okay, you're lying. You're lying. Okay, you are lying, and now I have determined that you're wasting my time because you're a liar.
Yeah, we don't have time to waste.
And I'm thinking, and then he kind of doubled down on his lie a little bit. He sort of really wants to hold this lie, and really he can sense that I'm onto it, but he really grabs onto the lie. And,
oh my gosh!
And he's in my eyes. I think now he's in love with his lie. He loves his lie. He's convinced himself that the lie is the truth. And I was just sitting there going, you bastard. I've already changed a diaper this morning. I got kids out there arguing about sports. Cal's upset because his peanut butter toast wasn't cut the right way. I mean, there's a lot going on that morning. Right. And this guy's just sitting there making love to his lies. And I'm a part of this on the phone. And I'm like, so I ended the call abruptly and you just got to kind of move on. But I don't think you've got to be dealing with all this other crap for you to get there. To quickly go, okay, this guy's full of it. He's a liar. And now he is sucking the life out of me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm done. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done. And so, and he knew it. He knew that I knew it. And, he's on to right now probably lying to somebody else about some things, and that's fine because I think that's kind of what he does. But business is business. I mean, you're just running into those people all the time. It's just kind of funny.
Well, I think since being diagnosed, it's definitely changed us as people.
Yeah.
And I think it will change you as a person, as a parent. But it's either you can go two ways. You can be depressed.
Mm.
You can be depressed and sad.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. Overweight, unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like you feel down and you feel down.
Yeah.
I mean, when he slapped me, I said I felt like beat down and, broken. Like you can feel like that, or you can just take a different approach and do like complete opposite. Try to be as healthy as you can be, be positive, talk about it. It really makes me feel good to talk about this because not only is it helping us through the journey, but it is helping other people. I've heard people have told me that,
Yeah.
but we do try to be positive, even though some days are super hard.
Yeah, we try to be positive, even though the last 40 minutes has been about how we don't get invited to parties much anymore. We have total failures of grandparents and a bunch of lying idiots that I've spent my time on the phone with last week.
Well,
we're very positive people.
Well, I know. As we're talking about this too, I'm like, God, this makes me want to drink a beer.
Oh God, it's the last thing I want to do right now. The hockey game went way too late last night. No, but actually though, I think it is. I think the funny thing about this is, and like just I think the whole podcast thing in general is not only does it help to talk about it, but I think then you also can go back and listen to it and kind of it almost makes you feel better to. And I'm not really one to go back and listen to. I've never gone back and listened to a whole thing. I think I've done bits and pieces, but it's kind of like it almost is like, oh yeah, I did get that out there. I did say it. You know what I mean? Like that's almost
therapeutic.
Yeah, the ability to kind of do it is kind of interesting. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying it's very easy to feel down.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, and I do have my days. I do.
Well, yeah, like yesterday we were just sort of like our kids have been arguing about sports for 3 days now. It's driving us bananas. Like I almost am ready to say no sports for the whole fall. They're just fighting with each other about who scored the touchdowns, who got the rings, who had the most interceptions. It's like, guys, we cannot do this all day, every day. They're calling each other cheaters, and I mean, it's just getting out of hand. And so we were like,
and it goes on for hours.
It's
the most annoying thing on earth.
And so we're like, we're getting out of here. Like we're leaving. Like we're running away. Like for the day. Like we just wanted to go somewhere, to go sit on the beach or just whatever. And we just can't. I mean, we're like, we can't. Cal was sort of in a mood. The kids are in a mood. It was not a good environment to leave them all together.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler's old enough to watch them all, obviously, but it was just not a good environment. We're like, yeah, we just can't. We just can't. I mean, at any other time, having a 5-year-old with a 9, 10, 11, and a 15-year-old, households leave those kids alone all the time for 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
We just can't. Just can't do it. So it was just kind of like, yep, it's just one of those days. Kids are fighting with each other, and it's almost like we were on house arrest yesterday.
Yeah.
Like they made us be here, and then they also made us deal with their crap, and they're fighting and arguing. Oh, it was so obnoxious.
I know, it really was.
And then it started raining, so we had to get out of the pool because the pool we could at least escape to.
Right.
And then it started raining, so we're like, ugh. They're just sit in the garage. Anything we could do to... And then we're in the garage for 30 seconds, and the door opens. And it's like a stupid question. And then the door opens again. And it's another stupid question. And they're just trying to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to be around us all the time.
Go call your grandparents. Oh, wait, never mind. They don't even have your phone number.
Oh, my gosh. All right, this is a long one.
It's true, though.
It's really true. And guess what? If we did have the grandparents, then we could have a break. So good for that guy at Seabreeze because his kid's going to need him.
Oh, dude, he's totally the MVP, at least when it comes to being a grandparent, because that's just to offer that. And I really hope his kid thinks hard about that.
You know what? Yeah. You know what's even worse?
Can't wait.
When somebody tells you, a grandparent tells you, I know your life must be really hard. I'm sorry. You'll get through it. I'm like, Why? Don't even say that to me.
Why even write that? Like, why even write that? Like, what are you doing? Like, what world are you from that just, hey, I know your life's hard. It'll get better. It's hilarious.
I know.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like, it's actually like, when you say, I mean, we have a lucky life. We don't have a hard life. Overall, right?
Yeah.
Like we have tons of freedom and we have our health. So we have to be thankful, grateful for those things. Yet the day-to-day, like the hour-to-hour stuff is just so, you're just so locked in on this one situation.
Yeah.
That you get into these ruts where you're like, oh my God. Like I am so like exhausted of being locked in, you know,
Yeah.
like just human being stuff, just
Right.
human emotion stuff, you know, like inevitably there's going to be people that listen to this and go, God, you guys are just so ungrateful for your youngest son. It's like, you're not listening to what we're saying. You know what I mean? Like you're just, you're taking a little blip of this and going, oh, listen to that. It's like, no, this is real life stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't me trying to get 50,000 likes on LinkedIn by writing, you know, special needs life is beautiful.
Yeah.
I would never say that. Like, I don't even know how I could fake that. Like, I know you're trying to get, you know, like to get likes and little hearts and stuff and supports and everything on social media. But it's like, that is not like how I see this. You know what I mean? Like, I see this as like, you've got to lay it all on the line for your kid and then also realize that it takes a lot to do this.
Right.
You know, to juggle all of this. Like, I mean, it's just,
you have to be on high alert all the time. Like I said, there's no room for error.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I see those memes and I'm like, for a second, I'm like, yeah, it does feel good. And then I'm like, all right, now I'm faking it. It's not the most amazing, beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Because we're not talking about him. It's just the environment that's created. You know what I mean? Like, some people can't get that, though.
Well, it's like you said.
Some people are like, I mean, we've had messages before. It's like, you guys just sound like this is just a huge problem for you. And I'm like, there are times that, yes, this is a huge problem for us. Sure. Like, yeah. Like when you haven't slept, when you're just exhausted and you
don't have the help. I mean, we only
it,
have each other.
And so, yeah, sometimes, yeah, it is. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, haven't you had a job that was a huge problem for you? Haven't you had a dog that was a huge problem for you? Why? I'm not talking about like all the time, but it's just moments. And it just so happens that this situation has a ton of those little moments, a lot of them. Like you get a dog as a puppy, right? It craps all over the floor. That sucks. It's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It sucks. And so, but you just have so many of those moments in this that sometimes you're just like, oh my God, like this is crazy, right? I'm going nuts.
Well, and I'm sure someone's going to get mad about this, but I wouldn't wish this for somebody. You know? I mean, I would not wish this for anybody. I mean, like you said, if you could just take a shot and the autism's gone, then you would.
Well, that was an interesting thing that was, I read, I don't know, it's been months ago, but there was this argument going down. I don't know, it was either Instagram or LinkedIn. It was LinkedIn. And, you know, somebody was like, you know, this is challenging and I'm doing the best I can. This person had lost their job because they couldn't handle what their job required them to do. And then the child went through this stage where, like, the child wouldn't sleep for like 2 or 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
The parents, you know, they literally were not sleeping for days. They're exhausted. They couldn't do his job. He loses his job. And he's basically talking about whatever. And somebody comes out of the woodwork and is like, you're acting like you're blaming your kid for losing your job. How dare you put that on your kid, this and that? And I'm like, oh my God. This family is going through this situation. They're not sleeping. Then they lose over half of their income in one day. And this person came out, was just crazy. And he sort of was like, oh, I didn't mean it to come off that way. Like he started like kind of apologizing. And I'm like, oh, dude, don't do that. Like, 'cause that's not, you know. Anyway, so I think people were jumping in. They basically, I mean, the good guys eventually won because they're like, no, this is because of the special needs. That is why. Like, what don't you understand? He's not blaming his kid. He's blaming the challenge that he faces every day.
Right.
You know, and there was still a couple of us couldn't deal with it. Why can't you find the beauty in this? Why, you know, this? And I'm just like, are you insane?
Well, then I'm like, then I'm like, those people that say that though are you dealing with it?
No.
Or are you just on the outside looking in?
Yeah,
you know
well,
what I mean?
no, because here's why here's why I 100% know they're not dealing with that. Because
it's freaking hard.
Well, because we know that every situation is different. It's just truly different. There's a little nuance to it. There's just something totally unique.
Yeah, like you could be listening right now and your kid could be autistic and not do anything that Cal does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not as hard for you.
And you could be autistic listening to this, a high-functioning autistic, and go, God. I mean, we had somebody right before. I hope my parents would never say the things about me that you're saying about your kid. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. The fact that you can even consume that and recommunicate that to us, I hope one day Cal can go, hey, guys, I heard the podcast. I mean, geez, that was brutal. I'd be like, yes.
I would be happy for him to listen to one day.
That's my point.
And be able to actually understand
like, this is how far apart we are.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand, like what we like our inside of our walls, and we don't understand inside your walls. But a lot of people want to project. They just so they run for the cover of the label. I label as this, or I identify as that, and then everybody has to fall under that, and then that's it. They get to become the spokesperson for it.
Yeah.
And it's terribly unfair. But that's kind of the deal. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what happens.
Right.
And
but that's why it is a spectrum, because it's that widespread and not everyone's the same. And,
yeah. And so,
you can't say you can't say that because everyone's so different.
Yeah.
Like literally, if I called the developmental pediatrician right now that diagnosed him and said, Cal will not stop biting himself, blah, 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 he doesn't have an answer for me.
No.
Because even doctors are still learning how to handle this. I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nobody has the answer.
No.
So.
That's why I think, too, a lot of the therapists get unfairly characterized. You know, they're like, oh, we did that. It didn't work. We did this. Didn't work. I'm like, these are human beings literally getting paid less than a lot of other people who are in similar kind of
fields.
Yeah. And they are they're giving up their time, their life to try to help you and your kid. They don't have all the answers. Yeah. Like the center that they worked for didn't say, hey, we can fix this 100%. They're coming in and honestly trying their best. They're giving you the best information, the best research, the best everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you'll see people that are very angry about therapists, and it's because it's not because they don't like the therapist or whatever. It's because they didn't get the result that they wanted.
Yeah, they feel like it's not working.
Yeah, but
we're all trying.
We're all trying. Everybody's trying. Yeah. And I hate saying we're all in this together because that's just I heard that in the grocery stores for a year. But the people, so we're not all in this together because that's impossible because nobody would understand this, all of us. But the people who are in this together, are in fact in this together. You know what I'm saying? It's you have to kind of be in this to be in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you sort of get it.
Well, it's like that meme that I posted the other day, It's, you know what I mean?
Well, you have to tell people because, it's terribly unfair for you just to say that.
Well, I posted something, and it's like when I talk to a non-autistic parent.
Yeah, and you got to be so careful. Did you almost say a normal parent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just...
Talking to a non-autistic parent, and it's like, oh, it's crazy, but if you don't understand OT, PT, ST, ABA, ASD, then don't talk to me, basically.
Yeah.
Or like poop smearing, or poop stories, French fries, all this stuff. If you don't understand any of that, then don't talk to me.
Yeah, it was basically a bullet point of like everything that a lot of parents with
special needs.
God, yeah, Jesus Lord. You just can't say anything anymore. It's just it almost drives you insane because you're talking. You're like, wait, what words can I not say? Who's gonna, you know what I mean? But yeah, it had all these bullet points of things, and it's actually if you read the list, you would go, oh my God. This is the craziest list I've ever seen in my entire life.
I know.
It's also nearly every day for special needs parents. That list is nearly every freaking day.
Yeah.
Not all this stuff in a year. Every day.
Yep.
Like, that's
I know.
crazy to read that list and all this stuff. And I'm like, whoo, that's a day right there.
Well, and that's why special needs parents can relate to each other. Because we're all dealing with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of like the parents I feel terrible for, and I shouldn't feel terrible. I guess I just feel, I don't know. Yeah, I feel terrible, I guess. I just feel terrible. Are the ones who are also going through the stuff that everybody else is going through, like dealing with a terrible boss, health problems on top of special needs, right? Because that stuff just happens anyway.
Yeah.
You know, struggles in their relationship. That stuff just happens anyway.
Right.
This is just like a side thing. This is just like another aspect of it. But many of those people still have to deal with other things.
Right.
That's what we say to other people, like with special needs, is like, hey, if you've got your health and, you're still going to have to always deal with this. Like, we know that. Like, we know that. Like,
Right.
I mean, there's never a scenario that, I mean, I think we feel 95% pretty good about saying that Cal doesn't live with us, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, you just that's the deal. So that. Those are like the rock solid core tenets of this. But, there's other things. See, it's not like life goes, you know what? They got the autism thing going on, so we're going to take it easy on them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to hide them from cancer, or we're going to hide them from family problems, or this or that. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Right? Like you don't get the bulletproof Kevlar vest against the other things. That
Right.
stuff can still come at you. And then you got this going too.
Right.
So it's like, I see people going through this stuff and then that stuff, because this doesn't protect you from the others. I think people kind of think that. They're like, oh yeah, their whole thing, they got the autism thing going on. And then they're shocked to hear that those families also have this going on, or that going on,
Right.
or this going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, we kind of labeled them as the autism people. But geez, I didn't know that, there was a car accident. It's like, yeah, what do you think? People are immune to all the other crap of the world? Just, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's why. I mean, it is like relationships are destroyed, or maybe you have to go get a new job because you can't figure out all these therapies and have to help your other kids too,
Well, yeah. And so that's another aspect of it. Like, the parents still have to have careers, especially if you have other kids.
But I think a lot of people after diagnosis, they change their careers.
Yep.
Or one person has to stay home because of therapies. And
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, that's the thing. So you have to make a decision, like, what kind of therapies do you want? Like, if and every state's different, but like, if you make too much money, your kid's not getting these therapies.
Yeah.
Just not getting them. Like, not.
Or you're having to pay a lot out of pocket, or scholarships, or.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. So you have to kind of balance that. And then in some states, some therapies are offered, some are not. And then the timing of these therapies, and it changes all the time. The therapist can change all the time, and then the ability that you have access to the therapies can change all the time. It's like, I was talking to the guy the other day, and he was like, "Well, like, this is not a 9 to 5 lifestyle." I'm like, "No way." Like, I don't even know how. If you have multiple kids and then one with special needs, and you're proactive on therapy, how do these people get up in the morning at 6:30 and go to work, spend all day at work, come home at 5 or 6 o'clock, and then do what they have to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that happens.
Honestly, if you were still working at the radio station and I was doing all this by myself, like, I would be so unhappy. I would be like, this cannot work like this. Because when you were working at the radio station, you were gone all the time.
Yeah.
And then doing events and concerts and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it would not have worked, because
Honestly,
he wasn't diagnosed yet. We were going through the process.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like, if you have two parents that are like they're I can't even talk. Part of their job is to travel.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that anymore.
No. No, you can't. And it's like, so, but you see people, and they have they have tough decisions to make, especially if they want to be proactive about therapies.
Yeah.
Now, some families don't want to be, and so I guess it's a little bit easier.
Some families don't do any. They just do the school therapy.
Yeah.
And they do the school therapy because the school makes you.
Right.
I mean, if the school recommends it, I mean, that's what you're doing.
And it's also a little bit more of, I'm going to use the word everyone hates, a little bit more of a normal schedule, right? You take the child every morning. There's a full day. You pick up the child every afternoon. That's kind of what kids do. And so I think a lot of parents like, okay, well, that feels normal. That's good. And I can have my schedule around that.
Right.
So that's why they do it. And, we don't judge anybody on their decisions. We just choose not to make those decisions. Like, we're aggressive with therapies and school. I mean, on top of school. So, but whatever, it's just, yeah, but it's like some people, I mean, you can go online and look and read. There's tons of great blogs out there and Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts of people who like had to actually change their life. I mean, I'm talking about move to places where they didn't know anybody, give up 6 and 7 figure jobs, you know, because they made the decision of like, I'll figure all that out, but I got to get my kid to a place as best as possible where they can be comfortable and healthy and safe. You know, it's like, because a lot of it is, and I know the word safe and safety is used way too much online, especially on Twitter. You know, people are like, I don't feel safe anymore. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like, this is actually about safety, like about having your child, you know, like basic stuff, like not going and sitting in the middle of the road. I know that sounds crazy, but he would do that. Okay. Like he would go sit in the middle of a street and draw chalk sharks
and not know that a car's going to come.
Like, so I'm actually talking about real
him.
safety, not the kind of safety where, you know, a news channel tells you that you're not safe anymore and you have to run for your life and hide in a hole. I mean, this is like life skill safety stuff,
right?
You know, and it's just like, it's nuts, man. It is nuts. But all those people who have like said, screw my boss, screw my job, screw what, you know, America tells me is successful. I'm just going to figure out my own stuff, you know, for my kid.
Right. Kind of redesign your life. Yeah.
Redesign, repurpose. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes you have to kind of give your stiff arm to your parents or grandparents and say, right now, you are causing me more problems than what this is worth. Like the opportunity cost to try to get you to understand this is just too high. It's not worth the time and the lies and the crap. Because you almost feel like you're managing like another special needs situation at the other end.
Well, and trying to get people to understand it when they're not involved and they're not around enough is, I mean, it's honestly, I've been doing this for a year now, and I've been kind of struggling with myself about it because it is hard to just put your arm up and say, stay away from me. But coming in for a couple of days is not worth it. You know, and we don't go out to eat and stuff. We can't, because every little thing we do, really, we go out to eat for the kids' birthdays, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much work.
Well, it's also, though, too, I think it's what happens between, I'm just guessing, it's what happens between the visits.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It would be a lot different if it was like, oh, okay, well, you FaceTime our kids all the time and talk about school and sports and just, you know, hey, I was just thinking about you. What are you doing today? Like, what's going on? Oh, you're going to so-and-so's house? Is that your best friend? Like, what are they about? Like, you know, actually having, and here's the thing, too. This is the part this is like the fatal part. Unfortunately, this is just like my thought, you can't start now. You just can't start now and fake it.
Yeah.
It's like the time has gone. That period is gone.
Right.
Like you missed out on 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 years old. Like that was like the moment in time where kids, I think, start to really like appreciate grandparents. Now it's like, hey, you want to ask me all these questions, but I'm playing all these sports leagues now. I've got all my friends. Most of my friends' parents are closer to me than you are. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's like the breeding ground for great relationships with grandparents is like 3 to 7, 2 to 6. That's like when kids fall in love with having a grandparent, like the idea of a grandparent. You know, that's like when it's like, oh, mom and dad are being mean to me, but I'm going to run to grandpa because he'll take care of me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and those ages, I was begging my mom, my parents to be more involved then, and begging before Cal was diagnosed, before Cal was even here. Guess what? Our kids are older now, and they don't even care if they're around.
But that's what I'm saying.
They don't ask for them. They don't care.
They don't have that period.
It's beyond. I mean,
that period is over.
Yeah,
like you can't go back, and you know, it's like we always said. Like our kids in elementary school, you know, they have Grandparents' Day.
Yeah.
Our neighbors' parents would stop in and see them on Grandparents' Day, so they didn't feel left out.
Yeah, very nice.
Now, that says 2 things about the situation. 1, how horrible are their real grandparents?
Yeah, for
Number
real.
2, how great are our neighbors' parents?
I know.
To stop in and think about them because
they didn't even tell us.
They didn't even tell us.
Didn't.
So how great of people are they they were like, they're not going to have anybody stop in. We'll stop in because we see them a lot. We'll stop in and say hi. I mean, so you learn about two totally different characters on Earth in one day. It's pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
It really is kind of cool.
I think part of this was about just relationships, and you'll know really who your true people are.
Yeah.
After a diagnosis,
What's that sign? Our buddy Tim and Lauren
you?
just gave us a thing for our tiki bar by our pool.
Oh,
and it says,
friends are the family that we choose.
And I'm like, damn. I had never heard that quote before, by the way. I've heard a lot of quotes. I've never heard that, but I'm like, that is really great and so true.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you can absolutely have friends who are family.
Yeah.
And at least you feel comfortable, more connected. You know what I mean? It's a really interesting quote, but yeah, it is a wild, thing. It's funny. Like now, I find myself like people reach out to me who aren't like they're associated in the autism world. They have a child with autism, or niece or nephew, whatever. But their life, as far as like career and stuff, has nothing to do with autism. But they're wanting to connect with other people who are like them. Not even really, I think, to talk about autism. I think they just want to be like, hey, I noticed that you wrote this and wrote that. Tell me about yourself. Like, I think they're almost just like, you kind of sound like me. You know what I mean? Like you do things that I want to do. Like you watch sports, you drink beer, you coach your kids' team. Like it's possible. You can do this stuff. And it's nice that people, instead of just going like, so, I mean, like, what do you think causes autism? And, do you think it's the aluminum and the, what I mean? It's like people like, because I think that's what people think that's what special needs parents get together and talk about. But it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you've built a business on your own. How'd you do that? Oh, you're able to coach kids in sports. Like, how do you? So people just want to talk about those things.
Yeah.
And then there's like this background understanding of like, and I also know what else you're challenged with on the other side. Like I know what happens. So it's kind of cool that people like I think that's a new thing where people are sort of reaching out and going like, hey, I think it's neat that you did this. I think I might want to try that. How does it work with special needs? You know?
How can you juggle it? Yeah. Well, I've told you since he's been diagnosed, like this is the only time probably that I've ever reached out to strangers. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like I talk to more strangers about autism and what you're struggling with and stuff. Yes, you're talking about people wanting to talk to you in that way and stuff like that. But then also, like, when he was first diagnosed, I'm like, I just wanted help. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to know somebody else that was going through it. So if you are getting a diagnosis right now and you feel like scared or alone or all this stuff, and somebody says, hey, reach out to this person because their son is autistic, reach out to him because it makes you feel better.
Yeah, do it.
Like I have called strangers before and said, hey, my son was just diagnosed.
Who was the woman you talked to the other day? Kayla?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what?
Well, she goes by Kate. She goes by two different names. But she reached out to me and said, hey, I want to help you with his biting.
Yeah.
And so I told you, I was like, hey, I called this girl. And you're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I reach out to strangers if they offer support.
She sent us like this very thoughtful, meaningful email with her best perspectives on her training and everything she knows and, through her career. And I'm like, what just a nice woman. Like I don't even know how else to describe it.
She took the time to do it, and it was
nice woman to put something out there positive for somebody else, to give her best perspective that she can offer. She doesn't know us. We never met her. You know what I mean? Like what just a thoughtful, meaningful interaction. And, I just, like you said, if somebody says to call someone, do it. Like it, especially going through it, because I think you'll look back and go, I'm glad I made those calls or sent those texts or whatever, because you might get something that's like really, really good, like something that really makes you think.
Well, even my landlord at where I work, she's like, yeah, my grandson's autistic. Call my daughter-in-law. And guess what? I called her.
Yeah.
And I had a 30-minute conversation with her, and she told me I can reach out to her anytime. And it just made me feel better to talk to somebody that's going through it,
It really is. And I mean, I got to tell you, I think that is like when you hear about connection and everything like that. I think that's like the most important thing you can do if you're going through a diagnosis. Like if you're actually if you're waking up and going, hey, this sucks shit, as I did a lot back then, that's like the moments where you've really, really got to reach out to somebody and go, hey, I feel like this sucks and I hate it. You know, like, how'd you get through it? What'd you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because first off, it's totally normal. But second off, those are the thoughts that can talk you into going, you know what? I don't think I need this therapy stuff right now. I don't even think I need to think about it. You know, that's, I think, the moment where people make those decisions.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this sucks. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you're going to be dealing with it.
Yep. Okay, there you go.
So you might as well get as much
you're
help
going to
and
be
stuff.
dealing with it.
As much help as you can.
It's actually true.
All right, I got to go.
Yeah. Wow. Over an hour in.
Wow.
This has got to be our longest one we've ever done.
Yeah. That was a lot of stuff.
A lot of cuss words too, more so than normal. I always said in the beginning, I'm not going to cuss in this, but God, it gets so. Then there were times I feel like I was faking by not cussing.
Well, I think this is as real as it can get.
God, I think if cussing, yeah.
I mean, when you say suck shit, you mean it.
It sucks shit sometimes, man.
But Cal is a beautiful boy. He's great. But yes, autism is hard. And I don't think anyone could really disagree with that.
Oh, we're going to find one or two. We're going to find one or two. They'll find us, actually. But it's all good. Hey, we need all these different perspectives to make the world happen. I mean, imagine if we all agreed on everything. Imagine if we all looked the same and we all thought the same, acted the same. It'd be a horrible, boring world.
Well, and if you are functioning, lucky for you. Really.
I think, and there's a lot of great people out there who actually I see on the social sites who are functioning and actually do a lot to help parents going through it. You know, I mean, they realize that they were in a different situation, these parents, but they also understand. They took the time to see what their parents, the challenges they had to do with, and they actually take the time to help other parents. I think that's really cool. Here's the thing. So the angry, loud people always get the attention.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't have to actually make, like, their opinions don't have to become your reality. Even though they're loud and they're amplified and they come up with these quick little sayings and quick words to pivot the meanings and stuff, they really don't make a difference. It really is the quiet connections you have, the meaningful, deep stuff that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of learn, I mean, all my years in the media business, I mean, you know, I think the people who are really good at it understood that, you know, the quick attention was like buzzy. That's what got the buzz.
Yeah.
But the meaningful stuff, the stuff that mattered, that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, I pray one day Cal can be functioning, you know? So that's why I'm doing all the therapies.
It would sound weird to say, because like, so we say there's people that'll be like, well, why would you say that? Well, then let's just kind of deduce the other side of it. I hope and I pray that one day he's not functioning. I mean, right? Like,
well, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But, you know, you want a being to be able to gain as much function as they can so that they can have as much function as possible to enjoy all aspects of their life. Like, it's just, that doesn't.
I hope I can say, Cal, go get dressed, and he can go find his stuff and get dressed. And that he doesn't have to wear diapers anymore, and he doesn't bite himself, and he doesn't punch you in the face.
What's wrong with me saying, you know, I'd love to go to a bar on his 21st birthday and have a beer with him?
Yeah.
I mean, why is that bad?
Right.
You know, but there are people out there who go, that's what you want out of life? Like, I mean, that's a moment in life I would like to have. Yes. Like,
yeah,
what's
maybe
wrong
one day he can get married and have a job.
Sure.
And, you know, that's my hope and dreams for him.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Are we done?
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think I lost my window to go to the gym.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Inevitably, I'll get blamed for that.
No.
I didn't go to the gym today because you talk too much.
Oh, I'll work out on the driveway.
All right, we're out of here.